Welcome back to the channel. My name is Atom. Today I've got a full breakdown video for you. The track's already made. We're just going to be looking at all the elements of the tracks, from the bass to the drums to the effects and all the processing in between that I use in my tracks. The style of this track is SOTA, I would say. It's that futuristic drum and bass style. The modern production, catchy melodies and all of that makes up his style. So without further ado, let's jump straight in. Okay, so we're in the project. I think the first thing that I'm going to look at is the drums. They're the backbone of most drum and bass tracks, and in this track especially, I think they're needed to be very punchy and heavy. So I'll let you hear the track right now from just sort of the build up into the drop, so you can see what we'll be breaking down today. So yeah, let's get into the drums. So this is the drums by themselves. Quite simple, there's not that much high end in it. The drum processing by itself, I've got Pro Q3 cutting out some of the sides here. Probably could be doing more than this, but it's not that necessary. It's just for mixing purposes. We're not going to want any side information around this end of the frequency. We've got a Saturn, which is adding gentle saturation, as you can see here, with a small bit of drive. It's not doing that much, but it's just adding that bit of warmth to the drums. A tiny bit of OTT, literally at 9% mix, but it adds a bit of sparkle to it. And then this saturator on this shape and clipping, so there's a threshold that the drums can't go over. It's quite simple drum processing, but it works. Here's before. And after. Giving it that warmth and extra bit of grit. So for the kick, I usually keep it quite simple, as I have done here. There's a tiny low cut at 20 Hz, which could also probably be higher to get rid of that muddiness that we don't need. And then it was being pushed a bit too much without this limiter, so I added that to just tame it a bit. And I made sure that it was hitting at the same sort of volume as the snare. So if we look at the snare now, or the snares, if we look at it in the mixer, they're hitting around the same values. Then for this break, I've got this, which I've chopped up and then reconsolidated. I've done some processing too, which on its own sounds quite out of place, but with context it makes sense with these drums. These needed some sidechain to the snare because it was clashing, so every time the snare plays, it's ducking the snare bus, I'm clipping it with a glue compressor. I'm using Transient Shaper to give the transient more attack, which is a great free plugin that you should get. And then just low cutting as you would for most snares. Then on this I've got a tiny bit of drum room reverb, quite a long decay for a drum, but keeping the wet down. Just adding that splashiness that we like. And then just another top loop. Bearing in mind that this group has the same as this break has with the sidechain to the snare, so it's letting this snare shine through. It's not clashing with any of these breaks or anything. But yeah, these are actually very simple drums. I guess that's all that was needed for this track. Just keep it simple. There's no point overdoing it. Okay, let's move on to the bass. Now the bass is a lot more complicated than those drums. There's a lot going on. It's all of these, yeah, well, all of these layers down there as well. So let's see. Let's start first of all with the sub. I'm doing a low pass on here, bit of compression and a bit of limiting. This is just a preset I use called Simple Sub. It's quite literally just an analog, basic shapes, sine wave, basically no processing apart from a filter. Next up, we have this womp, which I've bounced out into audio down here. I've got this accent bass, quite a lot of reverb on it. I bounce this out as well. I like to bounce stuff out to audio because I think it just shows me where all the transients are sitting and what they look like, and if their sort of reverb tails and stuff are like clashing with other stuff, just to keep it as clean as possible, which is giving it a bit of groove, a bit of bounce before the main drop, which I'm about to show you. So this is the foghorn, the bit you've all been waiting for. A lot going on here. A lot of processing as well. Chorus, distortion, filter, an EQ. Got the diffuser preset for the filter. It's like dispersing all the sounds. Big reverb on it as well. There's quite a lot of automations that I use on this to keep it interesting throughout the track. So I've got down here the wavetable position, so that changes from this one, I think, yeah, this one to sound like this, and then here it's been changed. There's other automations that are changing that sound, but that would be a big one that in shaping the sound. But for the processing of that, I've just got an EQ bringing out some resonances, compressing it, saturating it, multi-band compression or OTT, and then another compressor. Why have I done that? I'm not sure. I've had my reasons, I'm sure, but I'm sure it's something to do with all of these effects groups down here that are automated on or off. So yeah, then finally it's being pushed into a limiter, but I've bounced that into audio and then just cut some of the lows again because it's very low heavy, or the sides, just cutting the sides there in the lows. And I've also done a pitch bend on this MIDI from down to up, which is giving it that sound. Sounds a bit more like it's evolving over time. Next we've got this, which I believe is like the response bass. The first one comprised of just a bass stab. It's more like a brass, really. It's got erosion on it. I'm pushing it so that it's wider than this layer, which I've put mono. So thinking about the mix there, don't want stuff to be clashing. This is a preset that I've got. Just quite a basic but really harmonic sounding bass. In context, all of the basses sound like this. As you can hear there, the second fork horn has some automations on it. I've used an auto pan down here. You turn the phase to 0 and then click to this. You can snap it to a rate, and I put it to 1/16 and then automated the amount so that it's doing, it's shaping the sounds, and it's keeping it more interesting in comparison to this. So yeah. Next we've got this Feel Reese, which I'm not sure where the MIDI is for that, but yeah, that's just me bouncing it to audio again. Doing similar. Oh, this is a duplicate of the foghorn processing, so that would see the same saturation and stuff. I wasn't sure why this was here just then, but I now realise it's another accent. It's the type of things that I forget about in songs, but they're quite important in like keeping it moving. So it's down here after that snare, so just giving it a bit more movement into the next 4 bars. Let's be it without it. So it's actually quite important, even though it's a tiny sound. So yeah, stuff like that I find really helpful. And then this group here is for the Reese fills at the end of each 8 bars. 4 bars. So this layer, using trash to distort and saturate it, giving it some, shaping it with the drive basically. And this layer's been made wide using this free plugin. I'm still bypassing some of that wide for mono integrity's sake. And the layer underneath it serves the same purpose, but it's just mono. And yeah, the processing here, I'm using a track spacer to sidechain to this, and it's just taken away from the highs when this one plays, which I'm already doing by EQing it out, but obviously felt that it was necessary to also add that. And on the group together, I'm processing them with these to sort of glue it together. And together they sound like this. Obviously making sure to add that MIDI into the sub to keep it all clean. And yeah, for the bass, that's pretty much it. I also have this, which is some sort of drum fill I found, but it's really like bassy. And I basically kept in the low end. Just did a tiny bit of limiting compression because it was quite loud. I think I had to rebounce it to audio and stuff like that. But yeah, it fits well. It helps sort of the impact of everything you see here. Yeah, it basically serves as a drum fill, but there's so much bass in it, I thought I'd group it in with these basses. And yeah, this is my bass bus processing. Got Pro Q3 to cut out the sides. I'm doing a bit of a dynamic boost for the sides as well, using a Saturn to saturate it, just gentle saturation again. I find that a lot of these can just push the sound too far quite easily. Compressing them all together, not much on the threshold. This is controlling the rate where we're automating it, to vary up, and then pushing it all through a limiter again. Just giving me control of how much I can boost it as a group. But yeah, all together, I believe that is it. If I play you that with the drums. Only other thing that I was doing really was chopping it up myself and then rebouncing it to audio till I was happy with it. You know, I wasn't just gonna bounce it and then just go like this sort of thing. I like that. I think the tails are really important, so I've bounced it to the point where I like it. This will be me changing the rate on the auto pan to like a quarter or something like that, and then liking how it sounds. So that would sound like this. Yeah, just a little zap here. I like a zap in my tracks. It helps break it up a lot. So I've just cut everything out there, obviously except from these laser zaps. I reckon next we go on to the musical elements. So yeah, let's have a look at those. Yeah. Mainly it's just a melody. There's quite a lot going on in the atmospheres down here. So for now we'll just do this. This is what melody I came up with. It's obviously being filtered in there. This is in after the first 16 bars. Filtering it in. Gluing them together. This layer sounds like this. The layer under it's like this. Bit more top endy. They're basically serving as like, they're letting you know what's coming, but they're not really involved at all. Again, they're more of just sort of a background element that's building up here, and this is the main bass lead, which isn't involved in the drop, but I like to have a melody in these types of songs so that it's more catchy, I guess, and memorable. So filtered in again. And then I'm changing up a bit here. As the filter's coming up. And then here I'm repeating one note. And doing a pitch automation upwards just for suspense, and then letting it play out one more time before the drop. So this is how that sounds. Lovely. Okay. Yeah, the MIDI itself changes slightly towards the second end of the song. Bit of variation, and then here is using the same thing. But changing the melody there for a bit of variation. But yeah, the atmosphere's doing a lot in the intro. So this is the atmospheres together. Very nice. This is some vocal ambience thing, which I'm using auto pan to give a bit of ear candy, just panning it between each ear and taking away a lot of the high end and the lows on that. Just got an atmosphere here, which I'm pushing in the wider range, very wide. And then this is a loop that I found. Bit of erosion to bring it out and pushing the high end on that. And then all together, I'm just processing it with a Valhalla shimmer, which is one of my favourites for these types of parts of a track. Just like really nicely. Just works better than like a reverb, I think. Each of these have, some of them have like delay and stuff, like this one has a lot, which is pinging it from ear to ear as well, but on the most part they're being affected by this Valhalla shimmer. I also had a portal here, which I obviously decided not to use in the end. Yeah, that's it for the atmospheres. I think now go on to the vocals. These are the more build-up ones.
You know how to take me high, so pull me, then let's take the night.
So for the group of the vocals, there's quite a lot going on. You've got low cuts. This is bringing out areas that I think need to be brought out. Only at a 6 decibel range though. This wider, but it's not doing much, and the low bypass is quite high. Probably could be higher, because you don't want your vocals to be that wide for the most part. A de-esser, I found them the sibilance quite high in these. Volcano just for filtering as a group. Compression to tie it all together. Multi-brand compression to bring out the highs and mids a bit more, and then pushing it through a limiter at the end of that. I've done a bit of chopping up.
I just wanna give you. Drowning it.
Using a multi-band compressor here. These must have been too harsh.
Drowning it.
Sending all of them to the same reverb channel. I'm using vintage Valhalla on the now colour, which I actually prefer to the old one, but most people don't. And then using this compressor to sidechain back into the vocals, so that when they play,
Drowning it.
or a loud bit,
You know how to take me high.
when it plays, it's pushing the vocal down. I'll show you this, like be dramatic with it so you can see.
You know how to take me high.
So then when they're not playing, the reverb's going back up, which is just really useful. A lot cleaner way of processing vocals. or just anything you want to do it with, but I always do it with vocals. And then doing the same with the delay. I'm using Supermassive as a delay, which I don't usually do. But yeah, that is the vocals. Pretty simple.
I just wanna give you, down in it, drown in it.
I reckon last we do the effects. Okay, so the ones that I have here, something's offline for some reason, but it's just a riser. Just classic risers up, impacts. I'm using this clap effect, which I've had for ages. Essentially just acts as a down riser, but it is a really processed clap. I've got this broken glass, adding a bit of texture, machine gun. Yeah, I mean, stuff like that I always forget that I put in there. It's just adding a bit of transient, I think, to that part of the drop. Yeah, the effects are quite simple here. I like to use a bit of crowd noise. Could be any noise, probably, but I like to use the crowd noise. It gives a bit of atmosphere. Side-chaining that to the bass though, in like the highs and stuff, so it's not just being a nuisance when it's not necessary. That's it for the effects. Now for the build-up. So for the build-up, I have pretty much just been copy and pasting kicks. I've got a few loops here. One of those. There's not that much going on, but yeah, the kick's just getting faster and faster. Automating the low end so that it's not getting too loud. Got one of these. I like to use drum fills. And then this little break here, which is becoming much more common in drum and bass recently, just breaks up the build up a bit. Got this bass, 8th notes, more of like a dance floor type bass, cutting out a lot of the highs on this. I think that's pretty much it. This has been a track that's done sort of the best for me so far, especially for jump up. Yes, it's been received really well on SoundCloud, which is great. It's called Something to Believe In. Go and stream it. It helps a lot. But yeah, that's how I would say you make drum and bass, like SOTA or Basstripper, or you know, all the good stuff, all those type of people. Thank you for watching. These are the videos that I'm intending on doing most of the time, just breakdowns that aren't so long and they're still edited, but they're not so long, and you're getting all the information, and it's not just me waffling for ages. I know that this wasn't very sound designy, but to be honest, this song wasn't. It was more of the idea and the lyrics where like the song took off, and I just wasn't having to do that much sound design. It was more automating and modulating the sound so that it kept the song interesting the whole time. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. If there's anything else specifically that you want to see on the channel, then comment it, and I'll most likely will do it for you, because yeah, these are the early days, and I'm seeing all the comments that you guys are putting and stuff like that. So yeah, I appreciate it. I'll let the track play out one more time. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.